Borderlands 4 boss Randy Pitchford addresses real fans tweet controversy. Nobody likes being taken for granted, and it was not my intent. So Randy Pitchford has this is from IGN. Randy Pitchford has addressed the backlash to his controversial Borderlands 4 $80 real fans tweet after someone ran it through Handsome Jack AI, I guess, whatever that is. So someone came out and there was like, "Yo, Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 to and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say when the price with the price when it comes to your publisher." And Randy response was, "Not my call. If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store has Starlight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage and at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen." Dope. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, honestly, like, if he wants to charge $80 for his game and such because the quality's there, be my guest. Like, yeah, charge $80 and whatnot. But also, too, I'm also kind of conflicted because there's also like the sense where, like, and we'll get to this later, but like Clariscura, it's only like $4.99 or $49.99, and it was
Yeah.
incredible
Yeah.
of a game. Um, so I'm kind of like a little like on the fence about it a little bit. Like on one hand, yeah, if the game's like up to standards, yeah, charge $80. I'm for supporting developers and such, but on the other, if the game doesn't like require that amount of money to spend to like be able to buy it and like play it and such, like I don't think there's really like a need to be that pricey, and that's almost like $100 too. That's the other thing. That's almost $100 too. So that's just where I'm coming from, man. And I get his backstory where like he had to work to like buy like a certain game because minimum wage was minimum wage back in the day.
Right.
So it's just one of those things where yeah, and he comes from like a different generation too. So I get where he's coming from in that regard. So
What do you think, Chris?
Um, yeah, I can see why it's a very conflicting statement. On one hand, it is a business. You're doing this to also make money. And I agree that if you're going to charge the $80, then it probably should be worth it too.
Mhm.
Like if you are going to stick by that price, then I think the quality needs to be there. Whatever you can gain from that. It's like when you're buying like the standard edition of a game, but you can add another $10, $20, but you get all these additional things. If you're starting at $80, then I feel like, you should get your money's worth once you
Yep.
get it.
Yep.
However, I feel like some gamers will always complain about something. You're never going to appease everyone. So I could probably understand why he was a little like snippy with his response to it. I can't imagine how much he's gotten or the company gets
Yep.
on this thing they've been working like really hard on. So it's like, yeah, it's a very conflicting thing. On one hand, I understand why paying $80 is a lot, because it is a lot. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also make it worth that price.
Yeah.
And I feel like at the end of the day, that's the best you could probably do. You're never going to appease everyone. Everyone's always going to have certain people will always have an issue with it. I think you also don't want to neglect or, push your fans away either. So I think maybe it could have been like handled it a little better. It was a like a tough response back. I could get why he's probably annoyed about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling about it. Make it at the end of the day, make it worth the price.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, dude. Honestly, like like if I'm like the CEO or like the director of like a studio, if somebody like made a comment like that online about, "Oh, why are you charging $80 for it?" I probably wouldn't respond, honestly, because I feel like if you do respond and if you respond in the wrong way, like it could get like a lot more backlash and stuff. And plus, it's like a bunch of people like you know, moaning about like, or bitching and moaning about like, a price increase on like their games now and such. And like, I feel like, if I was asked that answer directly, which did happen with Bowser from Nintendo of America whenever he got asked about, the Switch and like the price for that and like all the games, he basically says like, the quality's there for those games to be priced at that point and such. But then the interviewer, if my memory suits me right, he was like, "Well, why is the new Donkey Kong game not priced at that point?" Well, we thought it was priced at this point because of like the amount of work and time we put into it and such. And it's just like, what are you charging this for certain price points? Like, what is the main factor in
Yeah.
the end of the day and such?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, 100%, dude. 100%. So,
Yeah, man, I agree 100% with you guys too. And look, I want to like rein it back in and try to have some sympathy for I think the viewpoint of players who disagree with this. And there's some big commentators who disagree, like Moist Critical, etc., who are like, yo, the game should stay the same. And then you got like the in between, just the regular day consumers like us who are just like, we just buy it. We don't have a platform, and it's like, okay, cool. So here we are, and we're walking in the GameStop. I work a 9 to 5. The game costs $60 as usual, and then I look at it and it says $80 instead. It's like $20 more. Let me bring this into context for you, though. I always say this because I feel like this point drives it home for me, which is that Settlers of Catan, a famous board game that people like, the game costs $50 to buy. It's a game that you can put in your closet and probably pass down generations to come unless something happens to it. Like the amount of value you get from that game is insane, right? And for $54, Settlers of Catan Game of Thrones version costs $75. Same thing. You can throw it in your closet, probably keep it forever. Water damage could get it, whatever. But that more than likely, how many board games do you guys? Let me tell you right now. I know so many people who have a Monopoly board game that they've gotten from their grandma that still exists.
yeah.
And so, games are that they make that game years ago. The design of the board years ago. The design of the playing cards years ago. Like we're talking 20 years in some cases where they've made this board game and they're still charging the same price. But for some reason, we have a weird idea that when Mario, a franchise that was designed before all of us were born, and now we're like, okay, cool, let's they don't we hate that their price is still the same. It's like, what are we talking about? Like this game is well made, this character is well beloved, this you know what you're getting out of it. There's I mean, you could probably count on one hand how many you could probably count on two fingers how many Mario games have been disliked. And it's like I don't understand what people have this like weird inclination to be like the video game industry is different than every other industry. No, it's business, supply and demand. Did we spend more money to make this game? And does the quality reflect that? Then cool, pay more. No one's complaining that Mafia is going to cost $40 or $50, whatever that price tag was. That new Mafia, the old country. No one's complaining about that. When it goes the other route, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, thanks." When it goes the other, it's like when it comes out of our pocket, it's like, "Oh, now we're I can't believe." Like, no, dude. Like GTA 6 is. I don't know what Rockstar's going to do. They're probably going to raise the price, but
Yeah.
GTA 6, and I know we always end up talking about it, but it's the biggest game coming, and it's like GTA 6. You make a case to me that makes sense, that doesn't make you look selfish or greedy, that GTA 6 shouldn't cost more. You're telling me that I'm supposed to just make my studio spend $2 billion for 15 years or something like that, and then I'm going to give you the same price it was more than 10 years ago? Make it make sense, guys. Like, come on, that doesn't make sense. What business does that? And the same people who talk about this will buy a $200 or $300 more iPhone that just came out that's slightly more better than the one in the previous year. It makes no sense to me why people could think this way about video games. If you have any basic idea of how the economy works, that's how business is made. This not these game companies aren't getting and look, there are the rare cases where people are just being greedy. But let me tell you how it works. A game puts out a product, you buy the product based off the quality of that game. If it doesn't meet the quality, the company or developers suffer from it. Let me give you a better example. A game came out that was going to apparently meet the quality, and I'm going to tell you what it is at the end. A game that was going to meet the quality. It came out, it didn't meet the quality. They suffered from that by in return of bad reviews across the board. The game was called Cyberpunk 2077. It was supposed to be the best game to come out. Then people bought it and they're like, this is not good. They returned it, and it was so bad, in fact, at that time, that Sony PlayStation removed it from their store. And so we have power. So this idea that we don't have power, it's like, cool. Now, if you want to go in and not buy the games, cool. Like, you can do that, and maybe they'll lower their prices. And then what's going to happen is the business is going to work as usual. If people stop buying games, then they're going to go, okay, cool. We're not going to spend a lot on games. They're not going to spend a lot of games, and then we're going to get games that aren't AAA titles. We're going to get games that are less well made, and they're going to cost $50, but you're going to get 10 hours of gameplay rather than 60 hours of gameplay. Guys, this is super simple, and I wish gamers would get on it. It's like, we are the most entitled. I say it all the time. We are the most entitled people when it comes to this stuff. It's like, dude, this is by far the hardest medium of creativity, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
it's by far, like, we make all three of us in this. If you guys don't know this about us, all three of us in this podcast make movies. It's our lifelong goal. We love movies. Chris has great movies. Chandler has great movies. I DP a lot, and it's like, we all make art. We don't make art like video games. Video games are a whole different echelon. It's like painting, but on a different level, because you have a computer software, and then that computer software turns into a video game. That's what that is. I have a camera, and then I point it at the Chattanooga Aquarium, and then it's like, cool, the sun looks good. But like, that's the extent of what I did, other than color. I mean, it's deeper than that, color grading and stuff. But it's like, cool, like, but like, video games are from scratch, and we're like, but like it costs $80. Shut up. Get a load of this guy. Like, save some money up if you can't afford it, bro. You want a PS5? I bet you'll be paying. PS6? I bet you'll be saving up your money to get that. Why? Because they make good products. Think about it like this, and I'm ranting. Think about it like, and I feel I'm gonna. If you feel entitled to complain about games costing much, I feel entitled to rant about you being entitled. So, if you think about it like this, you don't want to spend a lot of money on video games, but you want to take a lot of money from the people who make the video games. Think about it like that next time you complain. These people are, I think we have a disconnect, bro, in the world, which it's always been like this, but we have a disconnect. We think developers are living the dream or whatever. They have a job, and they like, by the grace of God or whatever, like they were like, I want to be a game developer, and they became a game developer. That's a blessing, huge dream job. Just because they have a dream job, I think we have this disconnect that, like, they just get to give us stuff because they're rich or whatever, and it's like, they're not rich. Go look up the average salary of some of the people at, in these developing companies. Like, yeah, you have high people like Neil Druckmann, who are, presidents of the studios now, but like, you have developers who probably make something similar to someone who lives next door. This is not like, it's just because it's a front-facing industry that you think that there's a sense of hierarchy there. It's like, no, these are people with normal jobs just like you, bro. So buy the game, support the art, or don't be a consumer of it. It's just that simple, bro. Like, lock in, dog. If you can't pay $80, then just save up your money, man. Use it. When I was a kid, I used to want a skateboard so bad, and I sold ices to get the skateboard to my people in my neighborhood. I didn't have the money. It's like, I didn't go to Element Skateboard Company and go, hey, your skateboard costs too much. No, like, I knew they made the best boards, and so I saved up the money to get that board. It's like, this is simple, basic economics. Lock in, or you're gonna get the flame. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Buy some games, have fun, stop complaining. Now look. Before we go too far, like, and this will be the last thing I say. Before we go too far, developers, don't get greedy too, because you've been greedy in the past, and it's burnt people, and it makes the scale go. It's imbalance. Ubisoft, make better games, and there's no reason you should make crappy games and then try to charge the same price. Mafia didn't make, I'm not saying Mafia made a crappy game, but they made a game that wasn't to the extent of a full-fledged price tag. And so they lowered the price tag. Be honest. Don't take advantage of our need to play. So there's accountability on both ends, right? There's accountability on both ends. If we expect Kevin Feige to flesh out Marvel Studios and we'll go watch the movies as soon as it starts to fall apart, which it has recently, we stop watching them. There's accountability. You want us in the theater, you got to make good movies, right? So that's just what it is, man. Rant over. But
That was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was